Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, we're doing another one of the crop challenges. These next few videos are going to be challenges that I didn't get up in time during the time frame, but I did complete them, so I wanted to share with you what I did. So on here, we're doing the chase, which is an interactive element on your layout or project. And so I decided what I was going to do was a flap on the front of the layout page. A lot of times I used to do like shakers, layering photos, so it's almost like a waterfall of photos, stuff like that. But this time I wanted to try, I'd seen, I think Tisa do this on one of her layouts, and then I wanted to see if I could do sort of the same thing using 49 and Market. And this is the lavender collection. And so I'm going to line it up right on a quarter. And I put on my score tool, which is the black tool on the Fiskars. And then that piece we're going to be able to fold over. Now, with this paper being so thick, you probably need to turn it and score on both sides of the paper, but I just got my bone folder and I'm gonna press it both ways and use the bone folder to get it to lay as flat as possible. But it's gonna connect like this, and then that page will flip out, so it almost looks like it's a part of the paper, you know what I mean? You'll see. All right, so we're gonna start by on this flap, on the inside flap, we're going to put a 1/4 inch score tape. And then we're going to just kind of rub it in. We use our bone folder. And then we're going to untape it and then attach it right to the edge. So that way it lays just like that. So for now, we're going to leave the tape on and we're going to just start kind of laying some things out, seeing what we have, how we're going to make this work. So I have 2 3x4 photos. That's what we're trimming now. And then I have a 4x6 photo that has the big 50 above my head at my desk at work. The other 2 were me coming in from going out to the bank and seeing the 50 balloons above my chair. Yeah, so it was a great surprise. So for now, what I'm getting ready to do is go through all the laser cuts, the ephemera pieces, I want to say acetate. We go through everything that we have for this collection. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. And we're going to pull everything out that we want to use. Like I know I want to use this I think can go up and down on the 4x6 photo. It's almost like a bow. And then I'm going to take a small bow and put it on top. So it actually is like, you know, it looks like it's been tied. And then we have that perforated square. I can't remember. I don't think I actually wind up using that, but I wanted to pull it out. So to me, the thing you should do is when you're looking through all the elements, you should pull out everything that you think may or may not work. I mean, there's a possibility you can kind of tuck it in, or, you know, you might be able to do something with it. It's just important to pull it, because while you're in the groove and you're creating your clusters and you're putting things where you kind of want it to go, you have everything out that's a possibility. And so that's what I did, what I did with the laser die cuts. Now I'm going through the acetate pieces and I'm just looking to see what I wanted to use as far as the acetate. I know some butterflies possibly. And then I knew I wanted to use a couple of the flowers. So I had those 3 up at the top there. And then I'm going to go ahead and start putting the rest of these back. Now, I will tell you that adhering the acetate can be a little difficult, but you try to stay in the darker areas. So that way, once the glue dries, it dries clear, and your project will look good. You know what I mean? So, okay. So now we're going to go through with this particular color swatch collection from 49 and Market. I have obviously the pattern papers, but I wanted to tell you that this one actually came with what is it called? It's like a paper repack. So it's basically that really thin paper, and you're gonna see right now I'm trimming the photos and stuff so that way we can get our mats. And my mat for this one was 4x6 even, and then I trimmed my photos so that it would be it would actually be 3 3/4 by 5 3/4 because it's 4x6. And then on the other two photos, we're gonna make them basically 4x3, and then cut the photo down to 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that creates a very nice border all the way around. Now, since that purple is on the background on the two side ones, I didn't want to add like a darker purple behind the photo because I felt like it wouldn't stand out the way we want it to. So I used one of the pattern papers, but it's the lighter side. Okay, so we have mats, we have the acetate pieces, and I wind up moving some of the acetate pieces around. So what we're going to wind up using, I'm going to kind of change that process. But on here, I wanted to add some rub-ons and some other details on the inside flap. And I wanted to put some along the edge. These are like faux stitches, which I always love adding. You can get it sometimes in a stamp. I've used that before. Whenever I see anything that has faux stitching on it, I tend to try and use it or get it because it makes that look a lot easier than pulling out the sewing machine and trying to do it directly onto the project. Sometimes it's worth the process of doing that, and sometimes it's like, let me just use a stamp. Okay, so now we're putting together our pieces here, including our photo, and we're going to just glue it straight down. On this one, because it's part of the flap, I didn't want to use foam. So I think it works out best that they just go straight right to the paper. And we're putting down some more of the rub-ons. And then we're going to attach this one. And any paper that's sticking out, I put down the ATG tape, and then I'm also going to use some wet glue so that way if I go to lay it down and it's not in the right spot, I can pick it up without damaging the paper and just move it ever so slightly. And then we're going to do the same thing with the top one. I'm going to tell you, and doing this voiceover, I was not tired. I sat down, I got everything saved, and I started doing it, and now I can't stop yawning. So if you hear me yawning, I am so sorry. I can't even stop if I wanted to, but I'm trying real hard just to keep talking so that way I don't do it again. So now we're doing the same thing with this top photo, and we're going to place it down, and I think at the top of it is where I'm going to put the next, I'm going to put the next rub on. And then just put that down. Scooch, 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 scooch. Of course, sped up, but you know, it doesn't take long for these to really come off. 49 and Market to me is one of the easier rub-on sets that they have out. It really goes on like butter. Okay. So there's our inside flap. Just adding a few elements. So I want to say these are just two like decorative. They're almost not smudges, but yeah, just elements that came from this same rub-on package. It was from the 6x8. And we're going to work on the outside flap. So on this one, I knew I wanted to use, there's obviously the acetate, but the die cut, laser cut sheet pieces, excuse me. I knew, I want to say there was like a doily or a half doily type piece that I wanted to use. So thankfully I had gotten 2 of the laser cuts. So I still had at least 1 of these to use, because on my other one I did use it all. And I was going to put it on the edge and then, have the acetate come out. And then I realized, you know what, let's just put it right in the center. It doesn't hurt. And it's just like a little decorative emblem that lines up with the photo, actually. So now we're just going through. We're going to grab butterflies. And I think I grab one of these flowers here, because I always like to mix the acetate with the laser cut flowers. Even though I like the acetate ones, it's nice to have the mixture, because if you do get glue all over the place or your glue doesn't dry clear, you can always layer on top some of the other laser cuts. You see how I covered it with that little doily? And then I want to say I put sentiment right there on the edge too. Let me grab this real quick. It's right next to me. Yes, I did. Okay, and this sentiment says, let me get it. My glasses. It's time to be happy. And then you flip it open and you see your 50th birthday, all the elements. This is so much fun. And then before I put down our little detailed image there, I am going to put a little bit of rub-ons right up there at the top. And then that way it kind of, not that it anchors, but it basically kind of anchors where the acetate and where the die cut image is going to go. Okay. I'm just trying to leave this out so I can see it as we talk. Now, and a lot of times I don't glue down the entire acetate image. I usually only put glue on the area that's going to be hidden or like behind something. And then the other parts of it, I leave them flapping, because for the most part, they're not like they're like just bending in the wind. But I don't know. I just think the less amount of glue, the better. And I like how that turns out. Okay. All right. Come on. Okay, so now we're just gluing down our doily. And then we're going to add our sentiment right on top of this other piece. So that way it looks like it's a completed item. You know what I mean? Because it's only half of a doily. And that's going to do the flippy flippy. That'll be the flippy flippy. All right, so now we're going to put this side off to the side, and we're going to work on our 12 by 12 section. Okay, so I decided I wanted to use some of the same paper that was with the other 2 photos, and I still had some of that left. But before we get started into that, I knew we were going to start putting down some of this rub-on up here in the upper right. And the cool thing about the rub-ons, especially 49 Market, is that you could actually put most of the layout together, and you could squeeze in some of these rub-ons into different areas where you want it. You don't have to put them on first if you're not sure exactly where you want them to lay. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing if you wanted to wait. The only thing, like I said, would be when you're wanting something to be on top of it or hide, beneath it, you want to just kind of map it out. All right, so let's go ahead and attach our photo to our mat, and then we can start building up our focal image and then work on some of the other clusters that we're going to be working on. And I always forget to mention it earlier, but yes, I am using ATG tape and wet glue. I know a lot of times people are like, why do you use both glues? I'm going to tell you why. There's nothing worse. I have a layout actually right now that's in my other room that is literally falling apart. And it's like, I don't want to have to try and put it back together because all I did was use the ATG tape and I had textured paste on the background. If you have textures, anything like that, you always want to use both tape and glue. And so I just always use tape and glue. I know it's going to be secure and it's not moving. And here we go, layering everything, trying to figure out all the stuff. Kind of figure out exactly where I want it to go. And then we're going to start layering elements. Now, I think on the right side, I wind up only using the purple. And then we just layer the acetate in there. And on this one, I did not use the laser die cuts. I used the butterfly. That's going to be on the top part of the little cluster there. And then at the bottom, I used another laser cut, which is like the rope going across the bottom. And we're going to add, I was thinking of doing that four square. I think it's like 6 little squares in that element, but I decided I don't like that. And so I go and I grab another one of the doilies from the laser cuts and create a little area down at the bottom with the butterfly that could be a moth. We're going to say it's a butterfly. And then go from there. Oh, sorry. Hold on one second. I forgot. When I was doing this, I was on a live video. Not live video. Live, like, video chat. And I think someone from work had texted me, if I'm not mistaken. And and that's why I'm holding the phone. Oh my God, I totally forgot. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me. I didn't even realize I had this in here when I went to go and edit. Wow. How long did it take me to read this message? I probably didn't have my glasses, so it took a minute. Plus, I'm talking. You know, you guys know how it is. So eventually, obviously, I stopped and finished what I had to and then came back. That always happens. I have one of the girls at work who has to call me. I always tell her, I'm like, you have impeccable timing, because she'll always call right when I'm doing my voiceover, getting ready for, to upload the video and stuff. And it makes me laugh because she doesn't do it intentionally, but she just has impeccable timing, I swear. Okay, so right now we're just putting together our little cluster with the photo, the papers, and that area up at the top. And let me see. We had I pulled out the rub-ons. I think I already did I put them down already? Hold on. I can't tell. I'm trying to see with my glasses. No, I hadn't put them down yet, I don't think, but I cut them out. I don't know if you guys remember, 49 and Market had the rub-on alphabet, and I cut out Happy Birthday from that alphabet set. I think it was Farmhouse, and created my own title. And then I took from the Bella Boulevard alphas. They're like the, what do you call these? They're like the puffy, yeah, they're like a little puffy letter. That's where I got the numbers for the 50th for my birthday. So it's happy 50th birthday. But we're going to get to that in a moment. Still just layering everything, adding glue, and trying to create a little cluster basically right there up at the front and then or up at the top. And now I'm putting down the bow, so it's like I wrapped it up. I think it looks so cute. And then we're going to add the other bow right on top. And I'm grabbing that now. I think I'm looking for it. There it is. These are so thin. It's so easy to misplace them. All right. And then let's start putting down our butterflies. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a date thing. Now, I still haven't put my date on it yet. At the time when I make this video, I didn't which is funny, but I didn't do any splatters, but I did not put a date on here, which is too funny because I know exactly what date that is. That would have been the day before my birthday. Because that was my weekend off. So, all right. So now we're going to finish this cluster down here at the bottom. We're going to get that all put down, and then that way we can kind of figure out the happy birthday rub-ons and have everything laid the way we want it. I really do enjoy how this is coming together. And I totally forgot I didn't even do splatters on this. I don't know. I guess I was feeling well. You guys know I always usually do splatters, but this one, I don't think I needed to. Only because of the background of the paper has like sort of that splattered look to it. Plus I added rub-ons that have that same feel. So this one I didn't feel like I really had to go that extra, whatever that extra is. Okay, so we're laying everything down. Everything is glued for the most part. I know I got to do some of the butterflies, but we're going to start by basically getting our title down. So this part is going to take the longest because I'm trying to line up each letter so there's a little bit of space, but the top or the bottom is lining up. Listen, yes, we could have used a ruler. Yes, we could have put a pencil line and just lined it up on the pencil line. But, in the moment, I'm just winging it, okay? And it turns out not bad. It could have been a lot worse. But, at this point, it is what it is. Because I already started. I'm kind of lining it up. And I'm just doing the best I can. Sometimes it doesn't have to be super perfect, And I'm okay with how it turned out. I like how it looks. And that's all that matters. All right. So each letter, I will say this part is a little tedious. But just remember those little packs of the rub-on letters, they break it down by the alphabet, of course. So you have your A's and your B's and your C's. So it's hard to get like birthday on one piece unless you put it to like a scrap piece of paper and then trim it and cut it out. But who wants to do all that work? Not me. Not me. So we're coming down the stretch on day, okay? Because my thing is like, let's be honest. Now, I would say also, this is probably my favorite tool compared to the white one. The stylus that you use to like kind of give some curve, some dimension to the flowers that you're growing in the garden and stuff. It's, to make it look like it's something that you picked out, even though it's paper. Got it? Yeah. That works the best for rub-ons, especially these smaller letters. It doesn't take any time at all for them to just rub on. But I love the way it feels in my hand. So I would say the little white piece that comes in or came in some of the 49 and Market collections, I've saved them since we really started getting them from them. So I have plenty. I won't run out. There's no shortage for the little white ones from here. But I definitely like incorporating this tool. I find it very nice on the hand, using it like a pen or a pencil. It doesn't weaken my grip like sometimes the other one does. So now here I am taking these, I think it's the lavender color, numbers from the Alpha collection. Now that 0, let me tell you, that was almost down for good. However it was going to be down, that was going to be it. But I eventually was able to get it up. I won. All right. So now we're doing the TH. And I was worried at first that the TH might be a little bit too big, but it turned out okay. It really did. Okay. And I'm just kind of cleaning up some of the glue. And then we're going to just keep adding, little elements here. I put a faux stitch line right underneath where the photo is. And then I think I put one on the upper left-hand side. Yes. And, okay, actually, I think I did a double one. Let me see something. No, I was going to do a double one, and then I put it over on the left side. That's what I put on the left side. Okay. And then we're going to put down a couple of more, like I said, butterflies. I have the one on the right. There's one above our cluster on the left, and then there's going to be 2. One at the top right, and then one at the far left. Kind of sitting on the little bow up there. And then we're going to also add the little hearts around. And I think I only took 3 off. So, yeah. That's my 3, my little triangle. Okay. And then I want to say I'm going to grab, my clear block and have it pressed down. And then I pulled the other piece over because as soon as that sits for a little bit, we're going to attach our little interactive flap. I love it. Something so simple, and you could do this idea a couple of different ways, so many different ways. You could trim the edge on the part that's flapping so it has sort of like a scalloped look, or one of the dies that you probably have in your stash look. Excuse me. And then we're going to go ahead and press down with our bone folder so that way the 2 pages unite. And then it's just going to flip open and close. I love it. I really do think it would be fun to do it as either like a top flap that you flap up or on the bottom that you flap down. I mean, it's universal. You could do it on all 4 of the screen, the sides. You just have to decide which way you want your photos to go. So if it's at the top or the bottom, they may have to go more horizontal than vertical. So just keep that in mind too. Okay. So that's the layout, you guys. That really didn't take too long at all. Like I said, I think this one came together much quicker than some of the other ones that I had worked on. Once I made the decision to do the flap, it really did come along very, very quickly. So thanks again, you guys, for joining me. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to leave them down below, and I will definitely do my best to get back at you. And, I hope you guys are enjoying seeing these because, like I said, these are projects that I did for our crop so that I could say I did them all, but I wanted to share with you my process, especially on this one, because sometimes the interactive elements can literally be that simple. Thanks again, you guys. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you with our next video.